Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Matt Willson SFL Kickoff Show. I'm Mike Daggs. He's Gerald Smith. We've got Cameron Irvine and Ron Haynes on production tonight. Welcome to Week 5 of Season 25 in the Simulation Football League. Gerald, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. 4 weeks down.
4 weeks down.
And we're starting to see, like, as we've seen early on in the season, some teams, everything was a little bit closer. Now we're starting to teams get a little bit more separated in the scores and how they're going. Your team really separated themselves from a team. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, absolutely. But, hey, listen, I'm doing good because I just found out some ratings information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, we have better ratings than the This Week in the SFL show at the end of the week.
Don't listen to anything he says, folks. Don't listen to anything they
We
have
might
to
get
say.
canceled here any
DJ
second now. But
Khaled, we the best.
Juan, Mississippi. Let's see who's Louise Coduti.
They
remember
don't
seeing that
know
name
anything.
before.
Don't listen
So-
to anything they say.
And Quiz is in the chat as well. Jason Peace, there's a regular. He's here all the time. And Robert Thump, I guess we'll acknowledge him.
He's
too.
around.
He's around. He's there. He's Robert thumping, I guess. I don't even know what that means. All right, let's talk about the previous week. It was a week of blowouts. There's really not a great way to characterize week 4 other than it was a week of blowouts. Here's the margin of victories: 10 points, 20 points, 53 points. Then there was a close game, the one that we picked as our game of the week.
Sure did.
We know some
It's good.
stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not a lot,
bit,
but we
little
do
bit.
know some
Just
stuff.
a little bit.
6-point game of the week victory there. There was a 10-point margin of victory. 39, 35, and 44. The previous week to that, in week 3, we saw a lot of close games. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it was split. Half the home teams won, half the away teams won. A lot of them were single score. This past week, not the same. It was chaotic, just a lot of blowouts.
4 of the 7 were of 20-point or more
Yeah.
victories, and it was insane. But it's starting to show, right? Like, these teams are starting to get themselves geared up,
Yes.
figuring out their opponents. You get more film, able to curb what they're doing, and hey, look, we know what our mistakes are. We know what their vulnerabilities are, and now we can exploit that. And you've seen that last week at a high rate.
Yeah. It started off with Baltimore and Carolina. Both of those teams went into that game at 0-2, and it was kind of surprising. We were waiting to see which one was going to go 0-3, which one was actually going to get their first win. Baltimore did get the win, but it was a 13-3 victory. It still wasn't the dominant Baltimore that we've seen in the past.
No, it was a team, and we talked about it, right? Because we ended up calling that game, and It's like they still look like they're in trouble. A struggling team in Carolina, and Baltimore took advantage of what they were given, but they still didn't do anything impressive to me.
Yeah, Vancouver stuck it to Chicago. I think when we were making our picks, you said it was going to be a blowout. I said I think it was going to be at least a 3-score game. It was. That game was kind of as expected. This one, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Fort Worth hosting Oklahoma City, 62-9.
And we knew they were going to get back on it and win this game, but not at.
I thought Oklahoma City won the week before in like not a convincing fashion, but they won, and they came from behind in Minnesota. Like, it was a game where, I mean, clearly they were in it, and then this one they were not.
It just got destroyed.
Yeah, it was brutal. The game of the week, Washington at DC. That one was a great game. DC getting the win ultimately in the end, 23-17. Lexington over Sin City, 30-20. Queen City in Minnesota, finally the Legend getting it back together. They had a nice victory, 42-3, just sticking it to Buffalo.
Yeah, and rumor was people got fired, and it made an impact.
Yeah, barely. Arizona hosting Los Angeles. Los Angeles still trying to change that narrative. This was not the week for it. Arizona just doing Arizona things, 52-17. And then on the Monday Night Spectacular, I won't rub it in, Mexico City hosted Denver. It was a 44-0 victory. I was shocked that we blanked Denver. Denver's not going to get blanked again, is my guess. So what did that do to the standings? Well, we've got 2 undefeated teams remaining. We've got Vancouver and DC as the undefeated teams. We've got a couple of teams still winless, Carolina and Sin City. Your top 5 is Vancouver, DC, Arizona, Albuquerque, and Mexico City. Down at the bottom 5, still looking to turn things around currently, is Baltimore, Oklahoma City, Queen City, Carolina, and Sin City. Baltimore in the bottom 5.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Even tied with them is Washington as well.
Yeah.
2 top Like
Oh, yeah.
finishing like regular season last year, was in the top 4 or 5 seeded
Right.
last year, and they're sitting in the bottom 5. It's Carolina too, not
Still
winless.
a lot of football left. This is week 5 out of 15, so there's still plenty of games left to be played. These standings are going to get all sorts of shuffled up. So let's get into our spotlight players from weeks from week 4. For me, on the offense this past week, there was a lot of offense. There was a lot of
Tons,
teams that put up a
tons.
lot of numbers, a lot of good stuff. But for me, Vancouver's Devin Lloyd, the halfback, that was my offensive spotlight player of the week. Let's check out that film, see how he did, if we have it. So, listen, there we go. We got our footage up now. So he had 30 rushes, 226 yards, averaged 7.5 yards per carry, had a touchdown, but his long, this is what impressed me, Gerald, his long was only 30. You talk about, the average being 7.5, almost 8 yards per carry. Look at this big chunk, of yards he got right there. He ducked under a tackle to go and pick up those yards. When you have an average of like 7.5 yards per carry, you think, well, maybe he just had one 80-yard run. No, his longest was 30. He did it like this. He got a lot of short yardage plays. That one he lined up in the fullback position, which he did quite a bit throughout the game. But, to have an average of 7.5, that means he had to get a lot of runs about that length. So here you go. Here's a 9-yard run up the right-hand side, showing his speed and his ability to break tackles. This play is going to be another 9-yarder, but this is the sort of play that really helped, him break through. You saw the lines that Ron drew in there for us. That's the O-line setting this man up to succeed. Here you go. Here's a play where he was able to get 10 yards on another toss. Watch this. 3 defenders. Look at 1, 2, 3. Tackle him. Tackle him. Tackle him. Nope. Nobody could do it. They just had to chase him out of bounds. Nobody could catch the man. And let's see, an 8-yard run. He's not even touched until he's 8 yards down the field because look at the blocking. Look at him just walk through.
Wow.
He just strolls through like, oh, I'm just going to run right up here, up this big running lane. And here you go on this toss. Chicago's going to go ahead and blitz these 2 defenders right here. Don't matter. Watch this. Get off me. Here comes another one. Excuse me. I'm going to need to have you move. And he just keeps running right through. This is a player that's new to Vancouver. They had some turnover this past season. He picked it right up where the former guys left off, and he's just running over players. Here you go. Now he's getting his one touchdown that he had. All of these plays that we just saw, except for the very first 2, all of them were in the first half. In the second quarter, I should say. All of these plays were in the second quarter. He just absolutely feasted in the second quarter. And then his long run that he had, the 30-yarder, this was all the way down in the fourth quarter. It's his longest run of the game. Finally was able to put up like a big chunk of yards, but 226 yards on the day. And when I was trying to pick the offensive player of the game, I narrow it down game by game, but then ultimately, look at this. You see those 2 top guys there? They're both on Vancouver. And I'm thinking, which one do I pick? Because not only is Devin Lloyd getting it done in the run game, but you also have J.W. Doyle. They combined for 365 yards. So I actually ended up polling my buddy Joey Ramos-Lynn. I'm like, all right, you got to help me out. Which one of these is a spotlight player? And ultimately goes, oh, for sure, Devin Lloyd. So Mr. Lloyd, you got a little bit of an assist from Ramos-Lynn on this week getting the nod because it really came down to both of them. But how about that for Vancouver? Both of the best, in my opinion, the best players on any offense throughout all of week 4 was both on their team.
Look, and it's just credit to them and the work that they've done, how they built upon last year. Look, you can tell the loss in the championship last season has motivated them to retool, get better at everything else. Offensive line blocking like they did. The only way you get a running back to run for those yards, even 2 of them to have, over 360 yards combined, is when your offensive line is doing what they need to do. Credit to them. And Devin Lloyd coming in there, right? Like you said, new to the team.
Yeah.
And being embraced and being able to do that and execute at a high level. Congratulations to him. Well deserved.
Yeah, like I said, 30 rushes, 226 yards on the day. Officially per the website, averaged 8 yards per carry. kudos to the website for rounding that 7.5 up to 8. Had a touchdown, 30 yards on the day. Man, if only I could get Ray Bentley going like that, old timer. He don't run like that anymore.
No, he's got sand in his shoes or something. I don't know.
He does. We'll get those shoes cleaned out, I think, at some
Right.
point. But all right, so how about defense? I know you went with an oldie but goodie.
Yeah,
week.
oldie but goodie for me, right? Go way, way back with this player right here. My defensive player spotlight is Lexington Miners linebacker number 98, the boogeyman himself, Turney Roberto, right here. And you're going to see his stats when they come up. 9 tackles, 6 of them are TFLs. 2.5 of those were sacks, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6 to go along with it, right? This is the second defensive play of the game. He comes in there and recognizes really quick and destroys the running back in the backfield, right? And it kind of set the tone for the game, right? And here we are. We're still in the first quarter. He comes right on through right here, just blows by, the person tried to block him, and again sacks the quarterback right here. He just shrugs him right off. He's too strong. The offensive lineman can't pick him up. Was just completely caught off guard or something. Makes the sack and all that stuff. Here it is. As you can see him right here. He's not on the line. He's sitting back, right? Everybody's afraid of him. What's he do? Right in between 2 guys, runs and cuts it off, and he takes it and he runs it back for a touchdown. The pick 6 by the big man, like Ramos would say. He's not quite as big, but that's the thick 6. You can call it that because he's a big man right there. And the very first defensive play on the next series after the pick 6, what does he do? He's like, all right, I'm back in coverage again. They're going to try to do this. What he does, don't worry, I got that. Following the guy around, picks it off. Back-to-back plays on defense comes up really, really huge. In the first quarter alone, he had 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and to go along with the pick 6 that he had.
Wild.
So setting the tone early for them, right? And here's second quarter, and what do you do? It's a 3rd and 1 situation right here. Runs right in there, clogs the hole up because there was a hole for the running back to run through. Maybe we get a snowball truck in there, but the boogeyman says, not today, shutting it down right behind the line of scrimmage. Look, and here it is right here, playing on the line. They got to watch out and see what's going on, right? He says, all right, I'm going to play the flats. Nope. It looks like the quarterback wants to scramble right here and kind of get on rollout. He beats 2 defenders, beats a little bit elusive, comes in there and sacks the quarterback. Really, he commits. As you can see, he commits to making the play early. He ain't getting by me. And guess who is your player at the half?
Oh, yeah.
Roberto, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, along with his 2 interceptions that he had as well. So, look, and him being as good, he's been good for a very, very long time. And this is the thing right here. Comes right in. This play was impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you want to say it right here, and Ronnie won't do it, but he almost destroyed and killed Logan Lee on that last play, going in there and doing it. And look how quick he is around the edge, right? And comes around real fast, and he's got so much speed and everything else going on with him. He got a half a sack on that play, but the very, very talented player. We talked about the boogeyman for seasons now, how much of a difference maker he can be and how he has been for this defense over the last few seasons. And he's becoming, in my opinion, probably one of the most underrated players in this league. Nobody really talks about him except for us mostly. He comes in with the, and after last week, his season stats are 19 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 10 TFLs, 2 interceptions, and one of those was a pick 6. This is them only playing 3 games this season.
That's crazy.
And
that's the part that
he's
blows
just
my
dominating.
mind.
So he's very well on his way to becoming another all-star nod. And if he keeps his pace up, people might even have him in a talking of a defensive player of the season, the way he's played. Boogeyman Tony, we love you all the way back to the St. Louis days.
Oh, he knows.
You're doing good stuff. So guess what? Keep it up. Congratulations, Tony.
I've tried to recruit him. He knows that too. I've tried to take him away, but he's nothing if not loyal to that Lexington squad. So you guys should be grateful over there because he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stick around, and he's still doing great things over there. That stat line on the season through 3 games is nuts. Dan Tritt's stat line won't look like that at the end of the season.
Look, and most time you see from defensive ends and maybe defensive tackles with 4.5 sacks, but it just shows right here last week through the highlights.
Oh yeah,
how
the speed
much
around the edge was
speed
nuts.
and how much of a game changer he is. He can not only rush and play the line of scrimmage and sack the quarterback, he actually played a little bit of defense as well, following a guy all the way to the cross side of the field, making a pick. Very, very talented.
Oh, yeah.
And he's playing at the top of his game right now.
He sure is. Yeah, congratulations to both players, Tony Roberto and, of course, Devin Lloyd as well. And thank you, as always, to Ron Haynes for putting those beautiful videos together. This segment would be pure garbage without your help. So thank you for making it something actually worth watching. Jason Peace trying to rebrand my hashtag. He says, hashtag throw it to the linebacker. No, you throw it to the tight end.
Yeah, that doesn't. It
Don't
doesn't.
throw it to
It
the
doesn't. It
linebacker.
doesn't work. Well, Jason Pete's a linebacker. Let him have it. He's a very good one,
Let
might
him have
add.
it. Let him have it.
He's
All
one.
right.
He's one of the top guys, the linebackers in Houston. Let him have his thing. I love Houston.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's talk about this week's schedule that we got coming up. We've got 9 games, so we're actually starting to build up the slate a little bit more.
More picks.
There you go. Yeah, we get more picks to make and everything. So on a bye week this week, you got Arizona, Baltimore, Fort Worth, Mexico City, and Oklahoma City on a bye. Who's not on a bye? Well, coming up first off tonight, we've got 4 games tonight, which is great. I love that. We've got 2 in the 8 o'clock block. We've got Minnesota at Florida. Gerald and I will call that one. And on the other channel, we've got DC at Queen City with Colin and Rick Northrup. So
we got to give the meter back. Stole it last week.
We
Rick.
did. We
Sorry.
borrowed it. We
I'm
borrowed
sorry. We
Yeah.
didn't name it. The Rick meter's yours. We just used the meter.
Yeah, we just
Borrowed
poked
it.
Yeah.
Just borrowed it.
Yeah, you left a stain on it. All right, so then at night, I don't even know what that meant. We had 9:45. It sounded bad. 9:45, we've got Pittsburgh at Charleston. I don't know. Tyler Falk, Rochelle Colson will be on the call. And 10 p.m., we've got Lexington at Detroit. We're going to break that game down in detail because that is our pick for the game of the week, Lexington and Detroit. Michael Chirillo and Anthony Ellison, a solid crew on the call for that one later on this evening. You got Saturday free of SFL games anyway. On Sunday, we've got 4 more games. We've got Denver at Carolina. Carolina's still trying to find that first win. They're at home. They're hosting a Denver squad that just got shut out. They're not going to get shut out again, but could Carolina get it? I don't know. We'll talk about it during our picks. Okay, yeah, I think I already know because you're like, nope. Camera Duty, DJ Kilgannon on the call together. A rock solid crew, by the way.
Yes.
Those two together, absolutely phenomenal. You're going to want to tune into that one, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. At 6:45, we got Bossier City at Chicago. Mark Lopez and Stephen Mullinex on the call. Steven's pulling double duty for me this week because at 9 p.m., we've got Sin City at Washington. Ramos Lynn on play-by-play and Stephen Mullinex once again as the analyst. First time all season we've had to have somebody double up.
Look, and what you do, Cam and Irvine says, I got the Concorde jet for his boy Steven. Used to call games together all the time.
Yeah.
Used to be a dynamic duo. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I got you. We can get you from Chicago to Washington, no problem.
Absolutely. So then at 9:15, we've got Los Angeles at Vancouver, another big test for Los Angeles as they continue to try to change the narrative in L.A. Week 5's not making that any easier for them.
No.
Visiting Vancouver in Vancouver. Brandon Walters, Jesse Long on the call. We've got SFL this week at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see if they can beat us in numbers this week. I doubt it, but yeah, we're way more fun. He's never telling us anything again.
No,
by
he's
the
not.
way, you know?
He's
Oh, well, I'm sorry. At 8:15 on Monday night, we've got the Monday Night Spectacular. This one should be a great game. 2 South Division rivals, both 2-1, both great squads. Houston at Albuquerque. Cameron Irvine, Charles Doherty on the call. But it's a game in Albuquerque. We'll talk about it when we make our picks. So I know you went back and forth on this one. First, let's break down our game of the week. We've got Lexington at Detroit. Both teams are 2-1. Once upon a time, this matchup used to be called Tulsa and Indianapolis, but tonight they'll be in Detroit. Tulsa, they became Lexington back in season 23, and now, of course, Indy became Detroit here in season 25. This matchup dates all the way back to season 19, and each team have split their 6 previous matchups 3 apiece. For Detroit, they're trying to lose that stigma that they had as Indianapolis. Only 1 winning season in their 6-season history, and they have never been 3-1 ever in 6 seasons. They'll have an opportunity to do that later on tonight. Started off their season with a loss in Buffalo to Queen City, barely running out of time for a go-ahead score, and then they responded in weeks 2 or 3 with a win over Pittsburgh and Oklahoma City, but those were only single-score victories. So remains to be seen how this squad is. For Lexington, they've been very up and down in the past, and they always seem to struggle to find consistency. That's just what it seems to be with Lexington. Some weeks they look powerful, other weeks they look lost. So I just don't know which one we're going to see on a week-to-week basis. They too are currently 2-1, and they're looking to make a statement by going to 3-1. However, the Lexington faithful all know they started off last season 3-1. How'd they finish? 5-7. So 3-1 doesn't necessarily maybe mean that they're going to keep on going in that direction because they're always so up and down. Talk about Lexington and what they got to
and
do.
that was the stigma, right, that I had even when I was coaching. Hey, look, if you want to beat Tulsa, right, they were the toughest early on in the season, because they played well early. But once people started getting film on figuring them out, they didn't really change a whole lot. And it seems like last season that's kind of what happened. So look, the Miners' offense, to me, has been a bit mediocre so far this season, right? Look, but they have taken advantage of the opportunities their defense has supplied to them. They are number 4 in points per game, putting up points. They're putting up a lot of points, and they are an impressive number 2 in points per game on the road. They score 30 points on the road. Where are they tonight? On the road.
Yep.
Look, and that's due to like I said, the great position their defense puts them in. Their offense ranks 19th in total yards. Not impressive at all. But what is impressive is that they have the second fewest turnovers in the SFL. If you're not turning the ball over, you can have those things. Plus, look, the yardage side of things could be skewed. Why? Because their defense puts them in a better field position to get them to score.
Right.
So Kenny Slider, he hasn't been great at the quarterback position, but serviceable with his very, very minimal mistakes. The run game with Deion James and Ian Francis, in my opinion, leaves a lot to be desired. I think there's so much potential there with those two guys in the backfield. I do think they need to get more production from their offense if they want to compete with those elite teams. I know Detroit right now is 2-1. Could we consider them as an elite team? I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. And I'm just noticing Wade Phillips in the chat. He must be operating on a serious delay. He says, keep your hands off my boogeyman. How long ago was it that I said I tried recruiting him? Click live, Wade. You'll get up to speed. Well, I guess you won't see that until halfway through the show now. But Robert Henson says he can't wait to hear these opinions. We'll get to Detroit here in just a minute. First, though, let's talk about Lexington's defense. I know this has really been the star of the team, obviously, with your guy that you mentioned as your defensive player of the week.
Look, and I'm going to sing it. Boogie, woogie, 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 woo. Make way for the boogeyman. Tony Roberto and his teammates, they're making their own way through this entire season so far. They have been your bend but don't break defense, and they lead the SFL in takeaways. They have 10 on the season through 3 games, and they lead in turnover differential,
which is great,
which is very, very good, right? They are +7 in that category. They have consistently put their offense, like I said before, in the best possible position to be successful. Their front 7, and if you count them all, it's actually 9 of them, not just 7 on the defensive front, right? And because they got 4 linebackers, they got a gazillion people everywhere. Seems like have been great this season as they lead the SFL and TFLs and are number 2 in sacks. Applying a lot of pressure, playing the line of scrimmage really well, being able to shut down runs and put that pressure on the quarterback. Now, for me, the keys players for them is going to be the entire offense. They just need more production if they want to compete with those elite teams, that we know that they can do. But like you said, sometimes it's boom or bust. They need to be a lot more consistent on the offensive side, putting up more numbers. Defense has to continue their productivity until the offense can somewhat catch up to the defense. Now, if they aren't able to do that, they might start to struggle.
Yeah, they might indeed. And Wade Phillips also reminding us they lost RB1 last season. Phoenix Jones about halfway through the season, just disappeared on him, and that happens. But you gotta adapt and keep on going. And Deli's asking, karaoke back? The man band never left.
Oh yeah, it's a man band.
Been here the whole time.
We had to give him a little bit of something.
We just need to be inspired. We just need something to sing about. Is it anyone's birthday? We'll do it for. What am I trying to think?
I don't know. $100,
Super chats.
$50, super chat, whatever.
Super chat it. Super chat it. We'll sing it.
We ain't had a gig in a while, so we'll take 50.
We'll take 50 bones. Let's go. All right. Well, whatever. Let's get back on track. Let's talk about Detroit. I know that Henson's waiting for that one. Skippy's laughing at us, but that's okay. Detroit. I don't know what to make of them yet. What do you think?
I don't either. They're still somewhat of a mystery to me, right? The offense is ranked 20th in total offense and only average 15 points a game.
Yeah.
while they have a very good running game, right, and they're ranked number 3 in rushing, right, with Andrew Gibson, Joe Harleman, and and their fullback Terrell Sutherland, it just hasn't translated to them putting up very many points. It's kind of odd to say, hey, look, if you're running that well and you have number 3 rushing attack, you should probably have a little bit more numbers, right? They are borderline one-dimensional. With quarterback Ethan Flowers, he has the second fewest pass attempts and pass yards in the league. They're just not throwing it. It's not that they're not in positions to do it. They just have this heavy rushing attack, right? They are number 4 in defense and number 1 in total defense. So, and we're going to break down the defense in a little bit, but the offense has to get more production, especially in the passing side, just to get themselves in a better situation to put more points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the defense, much like Lexington, is mostly what's propelled them to that 2-1 record that they've got so far. The defense is much better statistically than that offense.
Yeah, and like I said, look, they have the number 1 overall total defense, the number 4 scoring defense. They pressure the quarterback. They put pressure on the quarterback better than any other team, in my opinion. Have 13 sacks on the season through 3 games. Of those 13, 6 of them has come from defensive tackle Sean Parent being able to get in there and just disrupt it and just and kind of just dominate, the opposing offensive line. They have been nothing short of elite, but there's a huge but. They have not beat a team that I would consider anywhere near elite at all. Is that a knock on this defense? Maybe, but I think only time's going to be able to tell once they start to face better teams, in which I think tonight they are facing a lot better team. So We're going to see as they face better and better teams as the season goes on, can that defense still hold up? And key players for them, I think it's going to be offensive coordinator. It's not a player, it's a coach. Offensive coordinator Casper Haddock coming up with a better scheme and better play style that you can actually allow Ethan Flowers to throw a little bit more and not rely solely on the run game. Because right now, for them to be successful, the running game has to stay solid. If it falters, will they lose? Look, and the front 4 has to continue to dominate the opposing line to put pressure on them to force mistakes. So they need to get those things in there. I think the offense on the passing side, their offensive coordinators got to get a little bit more creative than just solely relying on the run.
Yeah, well, we'll find out tonight. That game is tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. Game of the week. I think it's going to be a good one. Louis Kadudi in the chat, $2 super chat. So he says, I got you guys, just saying something. Absolutely, we're only $48 away. And good news. Listen, the show's only got another 17 minutes in it, but we've got a whole hour and a half game.
Yeah,
we can collect super chats throughout the game. It worked last time. I think we had set it at $100 and we got it. We had to sing happy birthday to Carolina.
Happy birthday. The man band was created, and
and here we are.
We even got a
gigless.
Yeah, we even got a manager, Doug Day, wherever he's at.
He's done. He's got us no gigs. Yeah, I think we got to fire.
Yeah, I think we need to upgrade.
Doug, we're formally letting you. All right, let's get into the game that we've got coming up. First off tonight, coming up next, a couple of teams that have both been a surprise to me so far this season. We've got Minnesota at Florida. Florida has a smaller, revamped roster from previous seasons, now led by quarterback Isaac Covert. Everybody wondered how he would fare replacing the legendary Ron Cochran, and so far, he leads the league in completions and has the second best completion percentage. I know you gave Florida no credit, no faith whatsoever.
I did.
He's actually doing pretty darn good. Florida's roster also boasts 4 players that are currently performing at an all-star level. If the season was to end today, we'd all wonder where the second half of the season went, but we would have 4 all-star players on this Florida roster. You've got wide receivers Mike Twinscrew. Go ahead, say it.
Go Revs.
There you go. Tight end Ron Haynes. You got cornerback Adam Jones, and you've got free safety Daniel Wright, all of which are playing at an all-star level so far. With some lower than normal expectations for Florida, this team has managed to still find a way to win some games. It puts them at 2-1 heading into week 5. For Minnesota, the exact opposite of everything I just said can be said about that team. For a team that has never missed the playoffs in their 6-season history, they have really struggled out of the gate in this one. And their roster, it's not smaller than it used to be. It's absolutely stacked. It's got high-level players at all key positions and solid depth. However, they lost bad to Chicago in week 1, and then they lost at home to Oklahoma City by 3 points in a game that they were leading. in Oklahoma City clawed their way back into it. But have they found their footing finally? Because in week 4, they hosted Queen City and they obliterated them 42-3. So 2 surprising teams for their own unique reasons. How are they going to perform tonight? What's Minnesota got going on?
And we know the Legend had such a rocky start,
Yeah.
to start the season. Lost a couple of teams that are rebuilding, or experimenting. OKC being a team that's rebuilding,
Yeah.
Chicago being a team that's experimenting. Whatever. You don't have a mad scientist there. You need to quit it and move on. So and they allowed 72 points in weeks 1 and 2. Had a bye. Possibly people were fired.
People getting fired.
We don't know. Maybe
Rumors,
people may have lost their life. I don't know. But they came out in week 4 and looked like the Legend team from the past few seasons. They blew out Queen City, like you said, 42-3. The defense was able to force 4 turnovers last week and sack the opposing QB 3 times.
Yep.
They lead the SFL and TFLs with 34 on the season,
which is
number 3 in sacks at 11.5 sacks on the season. Offensively, they they played great last week, but before it leaves a lot to be, desired weeks 1 and 2. But week 4, look, they played great.
Yeah.
They went back to that ball control type offense, and they had, I think, last week, the opponent by 10+ minutes of holding the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're known for. And got future Hall of Fame running back Colin Hart. Why he's not in there, I don't know. Somebody need to change that. Finally got him rolling as he rushed for 139 yards, averaged 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And then his backfield mate, Isaac Knox, added another 55 with 2 touchdowns that he added as well. Former MVP quarterback Johnny Reno finally had a clean game, had no turnovers, was able to throw 1 TD, but he had no turnover, looked like his old self. This is the type of team we expected to coming into this season. Look, and now let's see if they can stay true to themselves and reestablish that identity that we've known that they've actually had over the last few seasons since their inception.
So who's your key players for this one?
Key players. Got to be quarterback Johnny Reno,
for sure.
Right? Staying mistake-free. Colin Hart, get him running. That front 7, right, with Meerkat, Clay, Mello, who has 5.5 sacks of the 11.5. Alvarado, you know him well at the linebacker position. Black, Loveless, and Stephon Forge need to set the tone up front and show that, hey, look, we're back, and we're back in a big way.
Absolutely. And for Florida, they're also 2-1. They are 2-1, I should say. Minnesota's 1-2 right now. So it's almost like these records are flipped. But Florida, they're 2-1. But I know that something still doesn't just sit right with you.
Yeah, it's something. I don't know.
You just
really,
don't. You don't like it.
I guess just simply put, this isn't your father's Storm team, and I don't mean that in a positive way or a negative way. Right? They just seem off since last season, in my opinion. Which obviously, my opinion means nothing to anyone. Right, but they just haven't looked like the old Florida team. You said they just don't look as well coached. They have the talent still there, right? They beat a good Charleston team, right, last week in overtime. Look, and there may be something there, but I just haven't seen enough of it just yet.
Yep.
Covert, right, the quarterback has good numbers, as you mentioned before. He's number 1 in completions, number 2 in completion percentage, number 4 in passing yards.
He's got several passing touchdowns too.
Yeah, see, and that's it. And I watched the games, but I feel like they have leaned heavily in the passing game, especially in the short passing game, by utilizing the fullback, running back out of the backfield. Not a bad thing. I feel like that's what, in my opinion, increases his completion percentage and completions. Is it skewed? Maybe, but it's working there at 2-1. Wide receiver Mike Twinscrew, Go Revs, is having a great start to the season, but they still need to get that run game to be serviceable, because right now they are ranked 19th or on averaging 70 yards per game on the ground. They need more from Boletsky and Kamasak, and we've seen it, that they can do it. They can actually carry an offense from the backfield. Defensively, they are not bad, but they aren't overly great either.
Right.
The defense surrenders 5 more points on defense than what they score. If you do the math, theoretically, you should probably be losing some games.
Yeah.
Right? But here they are. They sit at 2-1. They haven't pressured the quarterback very well either. Only have 3 sacks on the season. But their DBs have always played the line of scrimmage extremely well and are among the league's best in stopping the run. They rank 4th best in the league versus the run, but rank in the bottom 3rd in pass defense.
Right.
Not very good.
Which is tough. And you talk about them having only 3 sacks on the season. Meanwhile, flash back to a couple minutes ago when you were talking about Minnesota's defense and 11.5 sacks on the season and 34 TFLs. I mean, Minnesota's getting into that backfield. Florida's just not, and that's part of why their pass defense is going to suffer too. If they can't get pressure on the quarterback, if you let
Picking 'em
Johnny
apart.
Reno just stand back there
Correct.
comfortably, he's going to pick you apart. I don't care how good of a secondary that you have.
Look, and I do think that they're going to have to improve in the pass defense side
Yeah.
of things, just like you mentioned. And that kind of starts up front, like you just mentioned, to get them back to your father's Storm team. Are we going to see it?
Yep.
I don't know.
Key players, who do you
The
think?
key players, the run game. Beletsky and Komisek, they have to come up. They have to give him opportunities. And Art Vandelay, too, because he's back there running the ball as well.
Yep.
He's got to help that out. The defensive front, pressure quarterback
Pressure
more.
the QB.
And if you do that, you can get better pass defense, force the quarterback into bad decisions.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to this one. It's going to start in about 10 minutes' time. So first, let's talk about our picks. Currently on the season, I'm 19-12. You've gotten yourself out of the losing record, and you're up to 17-14. So look at you go.
Yeah.
You're back in
Well,
positive territory.
I kind of, I remember when making our picks last week.
Yeah,
I picked mine first. You copied mine.
I did. Copy
and you went
paste,
perfect.
baby.
That's what happened.
Copy paste.
We didn't lose a game last week.
Yeah, for the first time ever, we actually picked every game the same. Granted, it was only 7 games that we picked, but still, and all kidding aside, we do these picks independently. We do them separate. Actually, I do mine on a separate sheet, and then once I'm done, I look to see what you do, and then we combine them.
Don't believe that.
Man, these rings are getting heavy. Anyway, but yeah, we picked the same team for every game for the first time ever, and also for the first time ever, we didn't get a single pick wrong. So
That's the second time for me.
second time for you.
I win in something.
Oh, man. Hope these aren't making noise
Stop
clicking
it.
on the mic. You'll be back, and then we can compete again. We'll move on though. Perfect 7 for 7 last week. Let's get into this week's picks. Minnesota, Florida. We will skip because we're going to call that game. So we will start off with DC at Queen City.
Queen City, they just did not look very good last week with how they got handled, even though they were on the road. God, it just seemed like they just got destroyed, and they didn't know what side was up, what side was down, if they were going the right way or whatever. Coach didn't really know what was happening, and DC just played extremely well this season. Well-rounded ball. They are on the road, but they go into Buffalo and beat Queen City.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, DC undefeated. Queen City got blown out last week. I'd love to pick Buffalo at home, but it's going to be the DC Dragons. Give me the Dragons for that one. So far, we're picking the same team again. Pittsburgh at Charleston. I know you love your Pittsburgh.
Yep, Louisiana North. Everybody
sir.
knows it. Pittsburgh's Louisiana North.
They don't play well on the
But,
road, though.
Man, on the road, you guys have let me down. You got to give me something to work with. I can't work with what you're giving me. So you give me nothing, I give you nothing. So I got to go with Charleston. Charleston's looked very, very good this season. And, and I keep saying it. Man, they didn't play like their record had them last season. They played much better than what the record was last season. And they continue on. They built on it. And here they are sitting at 2-1. They are at home. Pittsburgh, not very good on the road. So guess what? I got to choose Charleston.
Ty Patak now in the chat says, hi, friends. He's here just in time for us to make his pick here in just a couple of games. Glad he could show up just in time for that.
Well, he didn't hear what I said about him earlier.
No.
Rewind it.
No, you don't need to rewind it. You just keep on trucking. Give me Charleston in this one also for the reason that Pittsburgh just does not seem to know how to win on the road. And I say that knowing Corey is probably watching this. Oh, look, there he is in the chat. And he's going to be doing stats for our game. I'm sorry. I love you, Corey. You got to win on the road before I can pick
bad.
you. I know.
North, he's excited.
Yeah, he's all
like,
excited.
"Ouch."
Yeah.
Damn, can't change
Well,
my pick.
you know what? He's probably
I can't
not on stats for us
change my
anymore.
pick.
He just left. Well, we're gonna have to deal with the aftermath of that one. But yeah, give me Charleston. Lexington at Detroit.
Detroit, it's a team, right? But I'm still trying to figure them out, right?
Yep.
They don't have the offense to go along with the defense yet, and when they play a better offense, I think they may struggle, right? So I got to go with Lexington here, right? Why? Because the Boogeyman's doing a lot better on defense, and guess what? When you're playing a tough defense and the way they can put pressure on an opposing quarterback, and guess what? Detroit doesn't have a very good offense right now, in my opinion. I think that defense overpowers the Detroit offense.
Patak heard the
Lexington.
The mad scientist shtick, by the way.
Who's the mad scientist?
That's what you said about Chicago.
Oh.
You don't even know what you said.
Oh.
You said
an
they don't have a
experiment.
mad scientist.
Yeah,
up
they don't have one there.
You forgot what he even said. Why did I even bring it back up?
All right,
Anyway,
here we go.
So listen, I'm finally going to pick a different team than you. Give me Detroit at home. Just in comparing the numbers, when you look at the team stats side by side, Detroit just actually are a little bit better in a variety of categories, and they're at home. And Lexington, wow, I think he just had like a aneurysm or something. And they're at home. I don't know. Listen, hey,
it just
maybe you'll win that
in my
one.
brain. Like, I don't know if you're watching the same thing I'm watching, but
Give me Detroit. All right, Denver at Carolina.
everybody knows Denver got destroyed last week. Hatsis, I don't know what happened. He didn't show up with his hair. I guess
his hair was messed up
because
it threw the whole game
something
plan
happened. I don't know if y'all gave him bad tacos or something. I think that's what happened, and he just couldn't show up.
Baby.
But I do think he turns it around and realizes, don't eat what the opposing team gives you. Guess what? You don't drink the Doritos. You don't drink whatever it is they give you. Guess what? It's going into Carolina. They're going to bring their own food, their own drink, and Hatsis is going to redeem himself along with Michael Goodman at offense. Carolina is struggling way too much for me right now. I think Denver goes into Carolina and wins.
Yeah, give me Denver as well. Again, got blanked last week. They're not going to get blanked again tonight. They're not gonna, or this weekend, I should say, and they're not going to get blanked again this season, in my opinion. And Carolina, until they change that playbook around, until they change up their offense, I don't think they're going to win a game. Not with that offense. Skippy, don't hate me.
It's pretty bad.
Give me Denver. Bossier City at Chicago.
Man, Chicago, the mad scientists do not live there. Last time I checked, Bossier City, the boats are going to beat the Warriors.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's a direct way to go to Chicago on a boat, but they're going to go in there with the paddle boats or the steamers in Chicago. You going to lose.
You pick the steamers. We get it. So listen, even with Patak watching, sorry, I'm also going to go with the Steamers, and that's a South Division rival. I don't want to pick them, but again, when I make these picks, I look at the side-by-side team stats comparison, and Bossier City just absolutely obliterates Chicago in almost every statistical category. The same thing happened with the DC Queen City game. It wasn't even comparable. We have the sheet highlights the team that's
correct.
Got the better rating, and all of DC's was highlighted, and none of Queen City's. And it was almost as bad with Bossier City, Chicago. Chicago's got some work to do. They got to get some things changed up there. They're at home though, so
and
we'll
it's
see.
And it's crazy because sometimes because sometimes Chicago pulls a wild one out of wherever, and they just win, and it could happen. But I just don't see it right now with the way they're playing.
Sin City at Washington.
Sin City does not have what they used to have. Things have changed there, right? They lost players and maybe some leadership that gets them motivated to do stuff.
Yep.
Washington plays really, really good at home. And guess what? Washington's going to, right their mistake that they have going forward, get back to what they know. Sin City seems like they're a bit struggling. I think Washington takes it.
Yeah, and I think this game's actually going to be a lot closer than it might look on paper. There's 6 games that have been played between these two teams, and only one win out of those 6 games. 0-3 Sin City and 1-2 Washington. But give me Washington with this one. They got it at home. They've now had 3 games to work out various things with their playbook. I think they probably realize that going all in passing is probably not the way. Get it a little bit more balanced. I think when they're hosting a winless team, that's probably a good opportunity to get win number 2, and they'll go to 500 in this one. Give me Washington. Los Angeles at Vancouver. Talking about changing that narrative, but Vancouver, not the time to do it.
Yeah, it's just Vancouver's playing way too well. We saw last week, and we had some highlights earlier on the show. Way too strong. LA just doesn't have it together right now. Vancouver easily.
Yeah, and I'm going to not even break it down any more than that. Give me Vancouver in that one. I think they're going to go to 4-0 and probably beyond to stay undefeated for a little while longer. And the Monday Night Spectacular, we've got Houston at Albuquerque. I know you went back and forth on this one.
I did go back and forth on it, right? Everybody knows Houston, but man, even though how good they played in their last game, Albuquerque is at home, and they are just crazy good at home. And I want to pick Houston so bad, but I can't. Until somebody proves that they can beat Albuquerque in Albuquerque, I have to go with the Adams. I think they take it.
Yeah, and me too. Like, for me, I didn't even look at any stats. I looked at nothing for this one. I saw that it was at Albuquerque, and I put down Albuquerque. That was it. And Frank Doom says, break out the blow pops. It's bomb pops, Frank. Yeah. Oh, look, we got our first spam too. How fun!
That's great. We made it.
Now we've made it. We've got spam in the chat. That's what's up. All right. That's all the time that we've got. This has been the Matt Willson SFL Kickoff Show. For Gerald Smith, Cameron Irvine, and Ron Haynes back in the studio, I'm Mike Dykes. Thanks for joining us. Get ready. SFL action just around the corner.